Well, hello once again, my friends. If it's April and you're on my channel, then it's Titanic month, and I like to spend as much time glorifying this beautiful lady as possible. Now, recently I showed you guys I made a history of the big piece. This is actually a piece of her starboard side hull. Well, there was a reason why I had wanted to do that now. Well, yes, because it's Titanic month, but also because I want to show you guys a really cool little photo etch model that I found. And this is in 1/100 scale, and it's actually of the big piece. So why don't we go over to the desk and I'll show you guys a really cool little kit. Alright, so the thing about this is I actually got this last year. I think it was in May or June, but I had wanted to save it for April, for Titanic month, and it killed me to wait all this time, but finally I'm going to be able to show you guys this little photo etch kit. Let's see, is that everything? Yep, that's everything in the packaging, and you can see, please open and handle with extreme care, very delicate parts. Photo etch sheets may have sharp edges. Did I open? Yes, I think I did. Yes. But before we get to that, let's get to what came with it. I think, yeah, there's a receipt here. This was for the R.M.S. Titanic, the little big piece, 1/100 scale. And when I had put in a note, it's coming a long way, can you please package it well? Thank you so much, from your fellow Titanic lover, Jerry. And let's take a look. This is from Maritime Models, and it says, "Hi modeler, thank you for your purchase from our unique range of model enhancement products. We really hope you were impressed with your items and your package from us. If you would like a free copy, a usage guide, and many of our products, they are now available for download from our website." And it shows you some of the different new stuff coming soon, and this is actually up now. If you want to do, they have some conversion kits that you can use for the Agora models, if you want to make it look more like Olympic, or more like Britannic. As I have put a lot of time and effort into our enhancement models, I really like to value your feedback. And you can see it's got the email address as well as the website. And looking at this side, we've got Maritime Models, a little big piece. Now they did have a 1/100 scale and a 1/200 scale. If it was up to me, they'd have a 1/25 scale. That would be really cool. The larger the better. But it shows you some of the amazing stuff that they have for photo etch, fellow Titanic lovers. So this is what came with the photo etch. So when we open it up, you can see there are thick pieces of cardboard. And within those thick pieces, looks like they're stuck on the tape, there is photo etch. Now one of the things I just want to, I'm not going to bash on anything. If there's any criticisms, I just have one. And this is kind of like on me. It doesn't come with any instructions. You have to actually print them out. And the only reason I guess I'm going to complain about it is my printer is giving me problems, and I don't really have a way to print them out. So I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do in order to follow along or show you guys. I've got them on a computer, and I'll go over the instructions with you guys, but it'll be from screenshots off the computer. And I'm going to figure out how I'm going to be able to get that printed out. Anyway, that's really my only criticism. And again, that's more on me for having faulty equipment. So let's Actually, let's put all this stuff aside. All right. So there's one sheet Photoetch. And let's see, I know I had cut the tissue paper, or I might have held off on it. Oh, I thought I held off on it. I guess not. All right, let's open it up now. Take off the tissue paper because we're going to build it now. We're not going to put it back in. So you get one sheet of Photoetch. And the Photoetch is pretty, as far as Photoetch sheet goes, it's pretty thick. 1/32 of an inch, I'm not quite sure. I don't have a micrometer to measure it, but it is thicker than like your normal Photoetch sheets for model kits. You can see this is R.M.S. TITANIC 1/100 scale, Maritime models, the big piece. And you can see the piece. Look at the detail. I love it. Look at all the rivets. They even have, which is a great touch, they even have the portholes we can add in. This is the inside where the rooms would be, and you can see the ribbing where the hull would be attached to. And we have the portholes, the large ones as well as the small ones. Now, people may or may not know that they had just about, well, somewhere around 2,000 portholes on the ship. Now, not all of them were for ventilation. They did have portholes that they had to let natural light into the room. And you'd think, well, they had electricity, yes, but it wasn't like today. LEDs, remember, LEDs are so bright, they're so white. Back then, they didn't have that. You remember the old bulbs when you were a kid? They got super hot when you would touch them. So they would have a lot of lights that would generate heat, and they weren't as bright. What they had along the first class, the promenades, I don't know if it was over the whole ship, but I remember in the suites they had the larger windows where you could actually angle them. You know, like the old cars where they had the triangle in the corner of the window, and you can just turn the triangle in and it would make a breeze. Well, you could actually angle the portholes out, the glass would open, and what that would do is that would vent out the rooms, or it would get fresh air into the ship. So that's why you may be wondering why they had different size portholes. As well as the grand staircase, as amazing as that is, that's a great source of natural light during the daytime, because the glass dome just let an enormous light supply in to light up the grand staircase. And it reached probably not, trying to think if it, I don't know if it would have reached all the way down to F deck where the staircase ended, but the light would travel throughout the ship. Anyway, this is the Photoetch piece. That's why we have different size portholes, and you can see they're almost like a star shape, and I'm sure that's to grab these once we put these together and have something to grab onto. You can see the sheets. This sheet is going to go right here. And one of the first things it says to do in the instructions is to sand it down. Like the edges, you can feel the edges are rough. And remember, this is a lot thicker than like normal Photoetch that you would get with a model kit. When these pieces are put together, I think it's going to be nice and thick, and it's going to be really rugged. Again, this is in 1/100 scale. I would love if they ever offer one that's larger. 'Cause, you know, I actually thought about doing a model, building from scratch the model of the section that they brought up. And now we can do this, and this will be more accurate, I'm sure, than what I could have done by scratch. But you can see the inside of the walls, and this would have been 2 different suites. And there was one section, I'm trying to get the bearings on where like the floor area would have come out, and that's what this is going to be. And of course, these are all the ribs. So we gotta fold these, and I've got the Photoetch bending tool. I got it somewhere, but of course I won't be able to find it because I want to. Oh, here it is. This is the one that I had gotten from Paragraphics. So we got our Photoetch bending tool, and I love the little rivets, the detail. Looking at the other side, you can see there is no detail on the other side. What we're going to do is we're going to sand it down as per the instructions, and that's going to allow these pieces to grab together. You can see some of the corrosion. Remember, this section, for it to break off, was under enormous pressure when the ship went up and actually broke in 2. So this is from the starboard side, and from what I remember, it would have been around this section over here on the first class promenade. See these portholes? Would have been over there. So excuse me, these would not have been on the promenade. These are not a promenade suite, but they're on the bottom. They're right below the promenade suites. Because you got to think, a promenade suite would be enclosed by the promenade deck, so they wouldn't have the portholes like they do on the outer wall. But I think right now we're going to go over the instructions, and I'll show you guys the instructions we're going to follow to put this together. So going over the instruction sheet, you can see the beginning has the picture of the Photoetch sheet. Moving on, the introduction. It says, thank you for purchasing the mini model kit of the famous big piece of the R.M.S. Titanic. This little kit is available in 2 scales. It's in 1/100 and 1/200 scale. Each part is numbered for identification, and also my recommended build order. You will begin with part A1 and finish with part B19. Please read the instructions before you begin and ensure you fully understand the best methods for you. The tools that they recommend are flat-headed and fine-headed tweezers, Photoetch bending tool, a sanding stick, super glue, model knife, magnifier for the 1/200 version, blue tack, useful for a Photoetch pickup and placement, and a clamp. Moving on to step 1, you can see, begin with lightly sanding the areas which will be glued together. This will assist the glue to create a good bond. You can see part 2 is align the 2 large sections A1 and B1, and then clamp them together. Ensure they align perfectly before dropping CA glue into the open side. Then press together, then glue the other side. Step 3, once these 2 sections are glued together, you may wish to create a subtle bend as shown to accurately replicate how the actual big piece is bent. Doing this once complete, you could cause the frames to detach. Moving on to step 4, you can see, add plates A2 and A3 to the outer side A1. Take care to ensure you position them the correct way up and have the rivets line up. Step 5, add plates B2, B3, and B4 to the inner side B1. Take care to ensure that you position them the correct way and have the rivets line up. Step 6, looks like the portholes. Take the porthole frames B5 and B6 and fold them as pictured. Also, fold up and twist the window locks on the B5s. Step 7 is we add 5 small B7 plates in the areas shown. Step 8, take the frames B8A and B8B and glue them together. The rivet holes should line up. Use the Photoetch fold tool to fold this into the C shape. Glue to the model in this indicated area. Always ensure the rivet side is here. Step 9, fold the frame B9 into the C shape and then glue here. Step 10, turn part B10, B over. Glue part B10 and C over here. Fold the outer edge like this. Step 11, fold frame B10A also into the C shape, then glue here. Step 12, glue the B10, B and C assembly to frame B10A like this. Ensure it lines up here. Step 13, continue with the remaining frames, folding them into C shapes and adding them, working in number and order from left to right. Fold frame B14 to simulate damage like this before adding to the model. Step 14, fold B17 and separate as shown. Step 15, add parts B17 and B16 as shown. Ensure there is a 0.5 millimeter gap here. Step 16, add to the assembly to the model. It should be perfectly slot around the frames. Glue parts B19 onto the underside of B18 as shown. Fold the 2 small pieces as shown. Glue onto the model here with the folded small plates facing up and in line with the outer small plates in step 7. And that is a complete instruction sheet. You can see the completed model. Okay, so those were the instructions, and like I said, I've got to figure out a way to print them out. I wish they were printed, but they're not, so I got to find a way to print them out so we can follow along. But that's what we're going to do. We're going to sand them down because you can feel there are some rough edges. We're going to use some fine sandpaper. Actually, you know, the first thing we're going to do is we're actually going to anneal this. And the next video, I'm gonna anneal it, and I've got a blowtorch that I'm going to use, and we'll do a real quick heating of the metal. What the annealing is going to do is it's going to make it more malleable, and we'll be able to mold it a little bit better. And then once it's annealed, then we'll sand it down because you can feel the edges are pretty sharp. And then we're going to build it. This isn't something that we paint and build as we go along. What I'm going to do is we're going to build the entire model. And once it's all finished, then we're going to prime it. And I want to make it look the way it does right now. It's in Las Vegas, and I think it's absolutely gorgeous. I love the way the blue light hits it. I was actually thinking if I could do a little display for this and put lights on it. A little bit of blue, white lights maybe. But that's further on down the road. What I want to do is we got to make it look like the paint does on the actual piece. And remember, it's been under the Atlantic Ocean since 1912, so I do need to put like some texture into the paint. It's not going to look like a 68 Mustang. And the piece that they got is actually pretty rugged because they had brought it up, they had used straps, they put straps around it, and they actually put the diesel fuel into the balloons because it's buoyant, it's lighter than the water. So they had brought it up to about 200 feet below the surface of the water, but because of the storm, the weather, and the straps gave away and it ended up falling. Now, it ended up falling. The way it went down to the floor, 2.5 miles back down, it actually, the way it kind of sliced right into the bottom, and it was upright when they had gone to recover it again 2 years later. So it was still pretty rugged. You got to think all the iron, the rivets, It's still pretty rugged is my point. But what we got to do is we're going to anneal it, and I'm looking very much forward to doing this because this is going to look great. I don't know how far I'm going to go with the texture because it's small, and I don't want to take away from the detail. But we'll prime it, and then we'll see about what kind of paint we can use on it. But my next video, my friends, we're actually going to start the build. I just wanted to show you the model, and I couldn't wait to show this to you guys. So if you guys want one, I'm going to put the link in the description if you want to head over to Maritime Models and check out some of their other goodies. It's a pretty cool site. I love the stuff that they do over there. They got amazing work. So my friends, until we start the build, which will be very soon, I'll talk to you guys soon. Have a great day.